Hey, heart seekers, welcome to the Heart's Hello Show, where our hearts are the foundation of our well being and happiness. I am your host, Keona Talana. In this episode, we are still dealing with refining areas in our life, but I also want to talk about how do we get clarity, sometimes even in the middle of a storm. See, yesterday, as I was getting ready to doze off to sleep, I heard so clearly that sometimes we are looking for doors to open, but we are not in the right proximity of that door to open. So when you're thinking about a automatic door, it opens and closes, but there's a sensor that goes off in order for that door to open and close, knowing that someone is approaching it in order to either enter or exit. And sometimes we are close to the door, but not enough to be close enough or within proximity of it in order for that door to open. And this is what clarity looks like sometimes, because we see the door, we see where it is that we want to go, but we're not where we need to be in order for it to open. And that can be in any area of our lives. See, sometimes we have to close our eyes and visualize where it is that we want to go. But we also have to figure out where is it that we are right now. And we are seeking for, trying to get to the next level in different areas. But are we within proximity of what we need to do in order for that door to open? Meaning, if you're looking for a deeper level within your spiritual walk, what does that look like? Are you spending more time in your word? Are you praying more? Are you fasting more? Are you being around like-minded individuals? Are you watching what goes in your ear gates? And are you doing the necessary steps in order to grow spiritually? If you're looking for your relationships or within your relationships, either friendships or intimate, are you the person that you need to be in those relationships? Are you the person that you're seeking? See, most of the time we want something from other people, but we ourselves haven't even become what it is that we are looking for. So when we're talking about being able to walk up to those doors that we want to see open, are we ready for that door to open? And if we're honest with ourselves, the answer is going to be no. So when we're talking about clarity and we're talking about refinement, remember that means that everything that you need is already there, but it just needs some tweaking. So I don't know what area of your life that you are looking for clarity. Again, it could be your relationship, your career, your mindset, spiritual walk, your business, whatever it is that you are looking for clarity in, you have to take out your own personal flashlight and shine a light on it. You have to be able to have the uncomfortable conversations with yourself first before you can begin to have uncomfortable conversations with others. You have to realize that you can see the door, but have you taken the necessary steps in order to be within the close proximity? Meaning, have you built yourself up enough in order to walk through the door when it opens? See, sometimes we have to be what we need to be in order for that door to open, because otherwise, if we walk through it and we're not ready, it can destroy us. That's just like when they talk about individuals who win the lottery. They come into all of this money, but if they have never developed the principles or have the right mindset towards money or the right relationship with money, they blow it. Same thing applies to the areas in our lives. See, sometimes even when we are looking for our husband and our wives, and we're looking for well, I'm just ready for this person to show up. Are you? Because if this person was to show up in your life, are you prepared for that? Are you the person that you need to be in order for that individual to come in and know that you're going to be that amazing person that they're looking for? Or will you come into their life or they come into your life and you end up fumbling that? Why? Because you're not ready. So that causes you to have real conversations with yourself so that when you get up to that door and that sensor detects that you are there, that door opens and you are ready to walk through it. See, sometimes I also think that this is why we don't show up the way that we need to show up in relationships, the way that we need to show up in our careers, the way that we need to show up in our businesses, because we realize in the back of our mind, either it be true or not, but we're unsure if we're ready. We're unsure if that door opens and the right contract comes through. Will we be prepared for being able to do the work? Or do we feel like there will be some imposter version of ourselves that will show up? So see, we have to go in and deal with all of those areas, all of those gaps in our life that, again, we just have to take our flashlight and be real with ourselves. Because the clarity is going to come from you having to deal with you first. And then when that door opens, you're confident in knowing that you can walk through it because you have done the work. See, when I had this vision of this door being open and being able to stand in front of this door, and whichever area of my life, am I ready, is the question that I have to ask myself. See, I have to ask myself why. Okay, the door is there. This relationship is there. Am I ready? This business is here. Do I have the necessary steps in place in order for this business to sustain? If I were to get this career, am I ready for that? And I'm not talking about the self-sabotaging conversations that we begin to have with ourselves. I'm not talking about that. But I am talking about making sure that we are mentally prepared for where it is that we're getting ready to go, so that we're not trying to get ready while we're already there. I know that you hear the saying where people say, stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. That's what that means. When you begin to do the necessary work right now, it's preparing you for where you're getting ready to go. And if you're unwilling to do the necessary work now, there will be some who may be able to go through a door that has been open for someone else. Why? Because they were there to hit the sensor and for the door to open. And you may follow through it just because the door is open for them. But that does not necessarily mean that you are prepared for that door. And sometimes we try to rush the process. Sometimes we try to rush through the pause. Sometimes we try to rush through us having to do the necessary work, because the first thing that we have to be able to do is, one, be true and real with ourselves, and to also be accountable to ourselves. See, oftentimes you think that the accountability is when someone else shows up. But the true accountability is, can you be accountable to you? Can you be accountable to yourself when you say that you're going to go to the gym? Can you be accountable to yourself when you say that you're not going to spend money? Can you be accountable to yourself for the very things that you yourself have told you? No one else may have heard the conversation, but are you able to be accountable to you first? See, everything starts with us first before we begin to pull other people in. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be perfect, because we are all going to fall short of that. But what I am saying is, are you able to do the work now so that you don't have to do it on the back end? I know sometimes that it may seem hard. I know sometimes that you may feel like that you want to skip steps. I know sometimes it may feel like this is just taking way longer than it should. Then you have to ask yourself the question, why? Because if you feel like that it's taking way longer than it should, why? Are you the stumbling block? Is there something that you need to do first? Because as I said, sometimes we try to skip steps. And in skipping steps, you miss something. That's like you trying to put together furniture and you don't want to read the instructions, and you finish and you have all of these extra pieces left. Same thing applies when we have to do the work with us. Those extra pieces were the lessons that you needed to learn. Those extra pieces were the courses that you needed to take. Those extra pieces were the conversations that you needed to be had with not only yourself, but with others. So when we are looking for clarity, we have to be okay, one, with where we are, and two, what we find when we get there. Like I said, sometimes you may end up in a storm when you're looking for clarity, because it's going to cause you to have to pull out all of those boxes that you have pushed to the back of your mental, and you're going to have to deal with them. All of that anxiety that you may have. Why is it that you're anxious? What is it that you're afraid of? What is it that you think is going to happen on the other side of this door? So we have to get to a place where we're dealing with us. We have to get to a place where we begin to ease the anxiety that we have as we are pursuing clarity, because we have to push through it in order to get to the next level. So some ways that we can ease that anxiety: we have to be able to breathe and acknowledge, and just recognizing when it's creeping in. And sometimes we got to name it and realize that we have to take back our power. Because the thing that you are anxious about, anytime that anxiety rises up in you, that means that you are now giving it fuel. You're now giving it power to grow. So when it creeps in, nah, you can't have that power. This is why when you're tossing and turning at night, because you've given something power that should not have it. Take your power back. Some other things that you can do is to just break it down. What is it that you're feeling anxious about? And break it down into manageable parts so that it does not feel overwhelming. Like I said, there are going to be some things in your mind that as you are searching for clarity, that have been there for 30 plus years. And you cannot deal with it all in one sitting. So you're going to have to break it down into some manageable parts that you can deal with. Then you're going to just have to give yourself some grace. Again, this is a journey. You're not going to get it all right. You're not going to always say the right thing. You're not going to always show up the right way. And realize that it's okay. There's no ill towards whatever or whomever you may be dealing with. If you check your heart and you know within your heart that, hey, I did not mean to say it that way, or I did not mean to show up that way. Your refining process is not a one-time thing. We're always refining. We're always looking for clarity. And you don't have to have everything figured out immediately. So give yourself some grace. I'm just so grateful that we take this time to realize that clarity is good, improvement is good, grounding is good, reconnecting is good, and we can feel all of these feels. So as you're going through and you're asking yourself the why, and you're realizing that the clarity isn't about your perfection, and that you making life just a little bit more intentional and peaceful for you, it is all worth it. But you're going to have to do the work. No one else can do the work for you. What's worse is for someone else to shine that spotlight on an area that you already knew was there that you needed to work on. So the goal is for you to be in front of that mirror and deal with you first. Because when you have already recognized that this is an area that I need to work on, when someone else may bring it up, you're already aware of it. So it's not going to take you over the top. It's not going to overwhelm you. It's not going to irritate you that they are bringing recognition to something that you are already aware of and working on. So you can say, I appreciate the fact that you have recognized that, but I know that's an area that I'm already working on. Thank you. So I need us to get to a place where we are okay with where we are, but also realizing that we can't stay here. There is so much down on the inside of you. There are so many goals that you have. There are so many doors that are getting ready to open for you. If you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to be uncomfortable just for a little bit. Again, we're always in this process of refining. We're always in this process of how can we do better, get better, be better, show up better. But that's part of life. And so each version of ourselves requires us to have to go through this refining process again. Each version of ourselves requires us to have to seek clarity again. Because that means there's another level. There's always another level. And sometimes people get stuck on one level and they're okay with being there. But I know that's not you. I know that you want something more for life. I know that you tune in each and every week because you realize that deep down on the inside of you, there is more that needs to come out. Like Miles Monroe said, that the graveyard is the richest place. But I know that when you leave this earth, you will have poured everything out, all that you have out, because you realize that your story, your testimony, your purpose, your gifts, your talents are not for you. And so I'm thankful and grateful for each and every one of you all. I'm thankful that you are realizing that there's another level. I'm thankful and grateful that you realize that you will not stay stuck here. Yes, you will be purposeful in your moments, but that you will seek and find your next level, because the impact that you are set to make in this world is waiting on you. So I just want to thank you for joining me on this adventure. And I look forward to where you're getting ready to go. I look forward to where you are. And I look forward to you showing up and being the true and authentic version of you, because you're worth it. All right.